So I just re-downloaded Hinge because I'm like, something's gotta give.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I need a fucking blessing at this point, you know?
Like a miracle.
Like something.
Yeah.
But no one, I feel like, is doing the dating apps, right? So that is my hesitation with doing Bumble BFF, because I can't be disappointed in two realms, you know? Like
friend life and
dating.
That's true. I've been looking forward to having you coming on. One, because it's a reunion. I mean, it's been a minute. Much needed reunion. Welcome to my slumber party. And then I'm like, I don't know.
I didn't know that was a hashtag actually until 2 days ago.
2 days ago. I feel like it's like the only thing that's on Wallawa on all the comments now.
Oh my God.
Like, have you seen that?
No, I'm actually like, it's not even the allergies. I think I'm crying.
Actually crying. You know, I haven't seen you in ages, and we were supposed to hang out all this time, but we actually met at Girls in Wonderland. Was that 2 years ago? It wasn't last year.
I think it was 3 years ago.
No, it was not.
I think it was 3 years ago. Yeah, because I've been in California for 2. And I was still living in Florida when we met.
Wow. That event was actually one of my first ever lesbian parties. I don't know if I told you that.
No, you did tell me, which I thought was crazy because you just really threw yourself into it.
Yeah. Because when I got there, it was just like a sea of lesbians and queer women, like literally a sea. They were all in the water happening. I was like, where am I right now? And then I think I had watched your show on Tampa Bay's before going to that, like prior to even knowing that you'd be there. And when I ran into you, I was like, oh shit, I think we know each other. And then I think we actually had friends in common, or Kristen.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yes. So Kristen loved you guys. Like,
I love Kristen.
Was fangirling. And I thought it was so cute. Yeah. She was so excited. And yeah, she is one of my best friends, but I met her from my ex. It's a very gay story.
We love a gay story, but that's so cute. And y'all went together to Girls in Wonderland?
We did.
Were you hosting? No, you were just attending.
I was just attending.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Well, it was fun. It was like a 3-day hangout. We had met that day, and I think we were inseparable after that for like the 3 days.
No, we were.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
And then we got ripped apart, and we haven't seen each other really since. And I'm like, what is this? What is going on here?
Whose fault is that?
Oh, I know. We're changing that this year, though, starting with this moment. I would love to hear about your coming out journey. I know it looks so different for everybody, but what did that look like for you, and when did this happen?
So I came out when I was 13.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I came out really young.
You knew early.
I did. I knew really early. Well, so I feel like my situation is a little unique. I had a very troubled past, and so I got sent away at a young age. And so I was in a placement like full of other girls, and being in those environments, it's actually like very gay friendly.
Interestingly, it was counterproductive on whoever sent there.
Right. Are you supposed to be punishing me right now? You know what I mean? But like there was more gay girls in those placements than like when I went back to high school.
Okay.
So it's really interesting. But I fell for a girl at a really young age. I was like, I'm absolutely in love with her. I'm obsessed. I'm gonna tell the world. And then I came out like giving no fucks. And it was very interesting because it really was not great for my family. And then when I was allowed to go back to school, because there was such a long separation from the time that like I was sent away versus like when I was back in the public, it just confused a lot of people.
Right. And did you experience any of that confusion between that time as well? Or you were just like, I'm absolutely sure, nothing's stopping me.
I was like, I'm absolutely sure.
That is great. I mean, I love that. I didn't find out, I didn't even have any idea until I was like 18 or 19, like in college. I just think it's amazing because when I was 13, I was definitely more, I guess it's the word tomboy. Tomboy was what I used back in, I don't know if that's common now to say that, but like STEM or play with the boys, everything. I definitely knew I was not as girly as the other girls, but I had no idea that being into girls was a thing. I just really, really, really wanted to be friends with certain girls. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just really wanted to hang out, but I was like, I didn't understand that actually meant like a crush or anything. When you came out at 13, was it hard for your family to understand that, especially being so young? Was there a lot of pressure to kind of be like, it'll be a phase, or?
Oh, that's all I heard.
That's all it was.
For years until I graduated high school. But when I came out, my mom took off 2 weeks of work. Like,
Okay.
I totally know why I'm so dramatic.
2 weeks of work is
2 weeks
wild.
of work.
She was like taking off the whole year's vacation.
Was just, yeah.
That
just registered?
I'm like, I'm taking off all 2 weeks of work for the whole year. I'm out.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
She really went through it, clearly.
Yeah.
And then my sister, like, she would try and set me up with her guy friends.
Okay.
And, like,
Yeah.
she's a couple years older. So, like, she would have college parties and, like, convince me otherwise.
Right.
And so it was hard for them for a while.
Yeah.
What actually changed it for my family is my first girlfriend. She was my best friend growing up. And we started dating. So my mom already loved her from her being my best friend.
Okay.
So, like, it kind of
That's a
morphed them
right,
like in
into-
the right direction.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, at least it was that. I mean, I'm assuming it took time for them to kind of understand that. But now, are they more open to you queer on TV?
For sure.
Representation
Yeah. Oh my God. My mom's
everywhere?
like my biggest fan.
No,
She
I love
also
it. Okay,
yeah.
good. Okay.
Any like celebrity that comes out, she'll like send me an article about it.
Yeah.
She's like, Mel, look.
Did you see this? And you're like, yeah, I saw. I got
Yeah,
that
like,
inside
I knew.
scoop. Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing. Well, I love that. And your sister as well. Are you close with both of your? Is it
am.
one sibling?
Yeah, one sibling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's good. At least that maybe they were trying to be supportive then, and they maybe just didn't know how to be. Even though I feel like that's kind of the thing with people trying to, at least back in the day, like their coming out stories, but they were like, I just want to make sure you're protected. I want to make sure you're safe. But in a way, it was kind of like counterintuitive in a way because they were
For
just
sure.
pushing you more into that, you know?
Yeah, like that was such a long time ago. And like throughout the span of time,
Yeah.
because I'm 31 now and that was I was 13. So what's the math? Is that 18 years?
Like doing a meme where it's like, it's like
Literally, can
what
we
is
add that in?
Yeah, we'll add that in.
But anyway, throughout that time span, more people have been comfortable like talking about it and sharing about it. Like
Yeah.
I think I had Ellen DeGeneres. Like
Yeah.
she was my inspiration. That's like all that I knew.
Yeah,
And then now
there was nothing else on TV. Now you see queer characters a little bit more in movies, music for sure. I mean, like queer women have taken over
they have.
music, which I'm like living
I'm
through this
obsessed
era.
with it.
Yeah, in Tennessee there was no representation, like at all. The only representation that there was that queer people are bad. They're all going to hell. They don't deserve a right to like live and get married and all of this stuff. And I was like, well, that's not me, so it's fine, you know. And now I feel like there's queer people everywhere. And it's becoming more and more of a conversation, which I think is why I wanted to do this podcast so much, is to have these conversations. And, you know, we're all so much alike in a way. You know, it doesn't matter where we come from or who we love. It's just like we are more alike. It's changing. It's definitely changing, especially as now there's more representation and stuff like that. Was there someone when you were younger, was there like a celebrity or other than Ellen DeGeneres, or somebody on social media that you followed that you were obsessed with? Or
remember I was obsessed with Kirstie and Domo.
oh, okay, yes.
Do you remember them?
I think so. Yeah. Wow, I haven't heard those names in a long time.
A long time?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny that I think we all had like a YouTube person that kind of like funneled our coming out stories, which is interesting now because there's so many more stories out there that people can kind of follow. What's something about being a queer woman that you wish more people understood?
I think multifaceted. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yes.
Multifaceted.
Okay.
Yeah.
The energy drink is kicking in.
No, I saw it and I was like, I could go for an energy drink right now. It's like raining here in LA. So multifaceted. Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that we can do everything. Like not to be that person.
Absolutely
but we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can. I feel like we rule the world.
Well, we are taking over, like I said, in music.
We really are. But I also think too, like we're very diverse, right? Like there's not one image of what a queer woman looks like, how we present ourselves or like our identities or like our sexual preferences, you know?
Yeah. Is that ever something that you run into that's more difficult because you are more femme presenting? Like I would,
for sure.
If you wouldn't tell me, I wouldn't know. I have the worst gaydar ever though. So
You don't think it?
I don't
I'm
know.
like, okay.
Well, now I
didn't need to
know.
hear that
Obviously now
information
because
today.
you have tattoos and okay, I get it now. It's checking the list. But I was like, if I saw you, I don't know if I would be my first thought. But again, my gaydar is off.
It just like upsets me because I really feel like
You're like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, goodbye. This was nice. But you know, they say, right? They say the piercings and the tattoo. I usually actually have a lot of rings.
Okay, that's also an indicator.
An indicator.
Yeah.
I try my best, like when I go out, like here, hello.
Right,
you
like
know?
here's my lesbian necklace or something. Yeah, but do a lot of people actually know? Is that something that, or is that still something you deal with all the time?
I mean, it's definitely something that I deal with.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
your statement, I think, was a little bit more accurate than I want to believe.
Yeah.
But then also, too, like, even with dating, because I am femme, I think there's certain things that people expect. And I'm like, no, actually, that's not how I am.
Like with gender roles or?
With gender roles.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I feel like that's something that I think we're all kind of pushing those barriers as well. Because I feel like, again, 10, 15 years ago, whenever everyone came out, you were either this kind of lesbian, or this one, right? And you had to still fit these, again, gender norms. And I think now it's kind of multifaceted. You were all doing a little bit of everything. Just because I looked a certain way doesn't mean that, like, just because I have a shaved head and tattoos doesn't mean that I don't cry a lot. And my favorite movie isn't Titanic, because it is, right? So I'm the sensitive one, but we're breaking those barriers one thing at a time. You were on Tampa Base. That was was that your introduction to reality TV? And what was that experience like for you?
Oh, it absolutely was my introduction. Can't say I'll ever do it again. They
like,
would have to
one and
pay me
done.
a fat check. Weirdly enough, it was not supposed to be a reality show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I signed on to do a docuseries. So I thought it was going to go a completely different direction. I thought it was going to be more wholesome.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was different.
It was?
There was a little drama in there,
Just a tad
but
bit.
yeah. I mean, do you think that that's kind of changed your direction with social media, with media in general? What your experience is with sharing your life online, or do you think it kind of at least opened up a different segue into media in general?
Yes and no. So it's really interesting. So when we were filming, I had such bad anxiety that I couldn't actually hide it. So I was pretty transparent about it throughout the show, which is the one thing that makes me happy that I did it. So I could be a voice for people that have mental health issues. With that, I have felt really comfortable coming online and talking about it and like my ADHD and like my depression, just like my list of things. And, but then on the flip side, there's other things that now I don't feel comfortable about.
Yeah.
Like if I was dating someone, you would never know. Like I don't want.
Okay.
I want
Me
that privacy.
either, you know? I never put anything about my relationship online either. No,
I have
opposite
no
here.
idea. Like what you guys are up to.
Yeah, never. Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that it's true. I think, especially with media, you never really know how they're going to edit, right? And they kind of like pick and choose what kind of personalities they want people to have them perceived. And I feel like that's the interesting part about reality TV. You might be going on with one intention, and then they portray you as totally something different. But I will say, you were one of my favorite people to watch. I remember Christine and I watching this show, and I was like, I love her. I want to follow her online. And then that's when we met at Girls in Wonderland. I kind of already had an idea of who you were, and you're an artist, and I love art as well. So like we connected. So you wouldn't do any more reality TV show, but if you were to come up with your own reality TV show, what would it be? And can I be in it? I'm like, I think we could come up with a really cool show. I'm just saying. Like,
okay, if I did one, I would do a dating one because my dating life has been tragic, and I would like want to set myself up for success. So unfortunately, I don't know if you could be in it. But
I know. Maybe I could be the host.
You could be the host. You could be the host.
All right, we're making this happen. All
yes,
right, we're gonna be the host.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you like my list of non-negotiables and what my type is, and
perfect.
You're gonna like really help me out.
I can do this. We can do similar to like The Bachelor, but a queer edition.
It needs to happen.
I don't know. You know what? They're going to, because I think the pressure is there. People are waiting for it. And honestly, it's just repetitive. They've been doing this for so many years. They need to mix it up. Or at least like a Love is Blind. Do you watch that show?
I have watched that show.
Okay.
And I have sent them emails. I have commented. I'm
really?
Like, the people need it.
Yeah.
And also I am here.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's one that I might do.
Yeah. But the problem with Love is Blind Queer Edition is how well, I guess that could be an interesting fact to it, because it's like if you're in the pods and you can't see someone, but then you're also going back to a room full of girls to like, because you know how they're like separated into rooms.
I feel like they'd have to separate it based on like what is your like
your
typical type.
Okay. Interesting.
Because like if they put me with all the other femmes, I'm not going to be into them. You know?
Okay.
So I think...
Interesting. Yeah, like you would have to have like there has to be some kind of rule. Otherwise, but that could also be like, is love blind, or are you going to fall in love with someone you see in the room? You know what I mean? That could be an interesting way of doing it. I mean, who knows?
It'd be great for TV.
It would be great. So there's your answer right there. I love it. You were in Tampa Bay, but you're not from Tampa.
No, I'm not.
You're from Philly.
I am.
Okay. How did you end up going to Tampa? Is that for school or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I originally went to school for art therapy. I wanted to work in a children's hospital. It was like my goal.
Okay.
And then I had to take a painting class as a prereq, and then everything kind of changed.
Okay.
But that is actually why I was in Tampa. It was at the time, I think, one of 8 schools that offered that as a major.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know if I ever told you that. I went to art school in San Francisco at the Academy of Art. Do you know it? I don't know if you know it, but yeah, I went to.
No, you did not tell me that, but it makes sense. Yeah. After you posted your drawings, I was like, how could I not know this about you?
I don't do it often, but I like every now and then I'll do it. I think my problem with art was like the minute someone tells me I have to do it, I get rebellious and I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. So I like to only do it in the meantime where I like, if I feel, my ADHD as well, I'm like, if I feel like randomly doing it, I'll do it, but then I don't touch it again for like 5 months. So I love watching your art though, because it's just so beautiful and purposeful, which is something I definitely want to get into. How did you move from Tampa to San Diego and then LA? What was that move like for you?
Yeah, so essentially the show came out and I felt like life changed for me a little bit in Tampa. So I decided to get essentially as far away as possible and casually just move across the country.
Yeah, the other coast.
The other coast, with no plan at all. It was a little bit of psychotic behavior, but here we are.
As you do, yeah. It was meant to be, that's why. Because we're all here. We ended up moving here around the same time, I think.
No, we did.
Yeah, so it was like perfect. Okay.
Yeah, because I remember us talking about it and the challenges of just like meeting people and like adjusting, which to be honest, I feel like I'm still adjusting.
Yeah.
Like it's been a year and a half and I am not used to living in LA.
Yeah. I feel like I have to preface when I tell people this, I don't mean to sound like a loser, but the older I get, the harder it is to make friends.
Like, no, it's a real thing.
I really struggle with it. Like, cause I think with the problem is like when I was younger and when I was drinking, cause now I'm sober, I feel like I was friends with everyone. Now I'm like, I have like a list. It's almost like dating where I'm like, I need to make sure we have similar core values. I need to make sure that we can get along and we can sit in silence and watch TV in our pajamas. It doesn't feel forced. There's so many things where I'm like, check. But I also like, it's harder to meet very genuine people sometimes, especially I think moving to LA, it was hard to meet genuine people.
That's my thing.
Okay. Yeah. Did you ever meet people in LA, you thought you hit it off and then out of nowhere, there was like an opportunistic feeling? Because I feel like that was kind of what we were running into a lot.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been unfortunate because when I lived in San Diego, I would come to LA every couple of months. So like I started meeting people. And so when I moved here, I was like, oh, I have friends. Like it's great, you know? Then being around those friends, I realized their true colors and why they wanted to be around me. And so it was very disappointing, but it was a learning lesson, which is great.
Good.
And I feel like I've built some barriers up of meeting people because I just love people. Yeah. Like I'll talk to anyone.
Right. I'm a yapper. So
I'm a
like,
yapper.
Yeah, like, let's do it. But I think, it's like you can yap and then there's a certain point where it's like, I really want to have a heart to heart. What's your love language?
Mine is physical touch and then words of affirmation.
Okay. So mine's physical touch and then quality time. So like the minute that I'm like, this doesn't feel like genuine, I'm like, I don't like it anymore. You know what I mean? I love yapping, but if I can't get to the next level with someone, I'm like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, I think being in my 30s, it's really hard sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, should I go on Bumble with friends and just like meet people?
No, I've debated that too.
Huh?
No, I've debated it. No,
You've debated it.
I'm
okay.
so serious.
You're like, no, I thought you said don't say that to me.
Oh no.
No, I've thought about it because I was like, how do you do it? And then you'll get on and it's like a dating profile. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, my thing is, so I just re-downloaded Hinge because I'm like, something's got to give.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I need a fucking blessing at this point, you know?
Like a miracle.
Like something. Yeah. But no one, I feel like, is doing the dating apps, right? So that is my hesitation with doing Bumble BFF because I can't be disappointed in 2 realms, you know? Like
friend life and
dating.
That's true. I wonder what it would be like though on Bumble with Friends. It's like as a queer woman, just curious, like you're meeting other women, right? I would imagine you would probably become friends with other women, but I wonder if there would ever be like like a friends to lover romance through. You know what I mean? Just get rid of Hinge, just do Bumble with Friends, and then you have the friends to lover romance, fantasy that you could build off of that.
I mean, they say those are the healthiest relationships.
Yeah, you're like, I'm onto something here. Maybe. I think I'm onto something, actually. No, but I think that with LA, particularly. Now I've been here a couple years. I feel like it did take time to find the community spaces that we like, the events that we like. Now we go to certain events that I see you all the time at different events. Like we went to Vegas and we were at the same time at a Vegas party, which is
never
amazing.
Forget it.
Me either. That was a crazy night. Can't say too much about that one, but it was fun. And I feel like that's now where I want to be around more queer women. I want to be around good people who have like a good intentions, good hearts. Have you found any events or spaces that you really love in Los Angeles yet?
So I've been to a couple events. I actually really like Futch. I think it's either like once a month or twice a month. I've gone to a couple different events. There's also, they just started it back up. The Soho House in WeHo, they throw a lesbian event once a month.
I've never been to a Futch party.
Okay, so I really like it.
Okay. I know it's got controversy sometimes, right? What I've seen on TikTok.
Okay, so I didn't see all the things on TikTok, but I was told about it. And it was a little confusing to me. So essentially the controversy is that it wasn't opening to the Black community.
Yes.
And that, okay, so that's what you saw.
That's what I heard as well. Yeah.
So I know some of the people that DJ.
Right.
And they're people of color.
Okay.
And then I think it's very diverse when I go, but I wonder because I started going recently.
Okay. Yes.
So I don't know if before things were different.
Yeah. It's interesting because you hear about all the drama before you go to each of these events. Every single event, every lesbian event that I've heard of, I know that there's different dramas. And I'm listening to it on the app. I don't go to them, but I know the drama, you know. I'm like a TikTok fiend. Now that you're starting to find your group of people in Los Angeles, what would be a piece of advice you would give to someone who's maybe looking to build community and make friends, especially somebody who's queer?
They have to put themselves out there. And I can just say from experience that it's really easy to stay in the house and like you have your comfort and your safe place. But just like reaching out and going to these places. And I know that in LA, it's easier than other places around the country. I do think like social media is great in that sense. Like my friend, Kirstie, she's in the nomadic community. Like they do events all the times. Like they'll meet up at coffee shops. Like it definitely exists. I just think it's like trying to find them and like be willing to like open yourself up.
Yeah. A lot of people have trouble making friends more than they're willing to admit. And that's why I'm the first one. You know, like when you meet someone, you say, I'm a hugger. I just go ahead and beat everyone to the bush. I'm like, I have trouble making friends. Because I'm like, I want people to know that it's like, it's normal to have to work towards finding genuine people to hang out with. And I feel like it's something that we all, especially in the queer community, are having trouble finding, you know?
At least for me in the queer community, we're just very small.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like it's just a small knit community. And I feel like everyone knows everyone. Yeah. Everyone has dated everyone. Everyone knows everyone's drama.
It's like the equivalent of a small town.
It is.
It is.
So for me, I just now, like when looking for friends, like if you talk about someone else to me, it kind of like gives me a sense of, will I trust you? Like, is this going to be like dramatized? Yeah. Because I don't want that. I'm too old for it now. It's not entertaining for me.
Same.
Like,
I'm also just down because I'll be 4 years sober this year. And I feel like it's also hard for me to meet other people who are down to do things that don't revolve around drinking. And I think that our community loves to go out. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I will also go out and have a good time. But I like to be in my pajamas and watching a movie with other people. I love a board game night. We love a game night. You know what I mean? And I think that that's kind of also what I'm looking to build as well, is creating people that you can hang out with and just be your true, genuine self without having to do all the antics of like going out every weekend. You know? But it's a work in progress. We'll get there. We'll get there and we'll go to Futch. It's fine. It's fine.
or listen, we can go to Futch, or just know I am down to hike.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also I found out that there's queer kickball.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I just found it out.
That's very specific. Queer kickball. It's
queer kickball.
Okay. Yeah. You are one of the most genuinely talented people I've ever met. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I love watching your art. I love watching you just pour your passion into every piece that you do. Every piece is so unique, but it also tells such a beautiful story about everything you're trying to, like, all these emotions. I would love to hear about your art journey. When did you what's like an earliest memory you have with falling in love with art?
So sweet.
I mean it. You're very, very impressive. And I appreciate you.
Thank you. So yeah, I started making art like when I was a little girl.
Okay.
And then when I was in all the placements, it was very therapeutic for me. Like,
Right.
I really think it's kind of the only way I survived being away for so long, which, by the way, I was away for over 5 years.
5 years?
5 years. Yeah.
So from the age of 13
Well, it started at 12.
at 12.
It started
and
at 12.
so 12 to 17 years old.
17. Yeah. So that's why
Wow,
when I was
okay.
mentioning about high school, it was like,
Right.
it was such a gap
Yeah.
that it was a little bit of a shock factor for people.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's insane. I did not realize it was 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So during that time when you were away, you were kind of pouring your heart and sharing your feelings through your art.
Like, for example, it was mandatory. Like, so I went to juvie 8 times, and it was mandatory. You're not allowed to have anything in your room, but a judge court ordered that I was allowed to have a journal, and I was allowed to have like a pencil, because that can be just a safety hazard, essentially.
Okay. Okay.
But so I could just draw, and just, it calmed me down, and it was just crucial for me to have.
That is something about art that I feel like is very therapeutic. And it's not for, it doesn't mean that you have to be this Picasso person, right? To find art as a conduit, right? I feel like you can really use art as a conduit towards your emotions and really explaining how you feel. And that's the same with journalism. I feel like journalism is also a form of art, right? It's, you can really pour your feelings out there and kind of get a lot of things off your chest. And I feel like once you do, it really helps you start to feel better as well, mentally and in every way. Who would be like an early influence for you in your art? Was there somebody that you looked up to specifically?
I don't think I really had people that I looked at as inspiration until college.
Okay.
Yeah, because for a while, it really was an outlet for me, and I was just doing it to try and heal and like find myself at the same time. And then when I went to college, that's when I was trying to see like, what is the message I want to put out into the world.
Yes.
So then I really like started looking into artists, and Jenny Seville, she was one of my first ones that I became really obsessed with.
Okay.
And she is so inspiring. So anyone listening, please look her up.
Okay. No, I love that. And I'll have to look her up as well. The art that you put out too, I know you do a little bit of everything, but I feel like some of the pieces, my favorite pieces, are like this, I don't know how to explain it, like this divine feminine energy, right? Like there's like a femininity to it that tells a story about what it is to be a woman in so many ways. To me, that's how I perceive it. Is that something that you look to have your audience feel through your art?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you're looking at? And also, how does your queer identity, how does that change your perspective through art?
I think that's something that I'm still trying to figure out, because I want my work to like empower women, and I want it to invoke like certain emotions and like make us feel like independent and inspired. But then at the same time, I do want to make work for our community.
Yep.
And so like merging the two has been a process that one day I think I'll perfect. I don't know if I'm exactly there, but I also am like my worst critic. So
Of course. No, I'm the same. I'm literally a perfectionist about everything.
Yep,
where
at all
I'm, like,
times.
always. How do you find a balance between creating art for yourself and art that truly feels passionate to your core, finding that balance between that and maybe something that's a commission piece or something that's more for your audience or even TikTok or social media?
I made a rule. I don't know if it's smart still, but it's fine.
Okay,
I made a rule. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that I wouldn't accept projects that like didn't fulfill me or like speak to my soul. So I'm not really painting like sports players, you know, and I'm not like doing commissions like that.
Yeah.
I want my art to be, I want someone to see it and kind of like feel all the things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Like I want them to know that I created it, essentially.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, truly amazing. You just did a huge mural recently, and it was with Amber as well.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most beautiful pieces of art ever. And
Okay,
what was
thank
the story
you.
behind that mural particularly?
Oh my God. So it was commissioned from TikTok.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
which is like a highlight of my life, including people from the community. And that's why it was important for me to have Amber in it.
Amber's amazing. I'm
love
obsessed with
Amber.
Yeah, I think she'll come on eventually too. But I love her, and I feel like that piece was just beautiful, and it was huge. I mean, it was like on the entire side of a building. I'm just like, I love being able to drive and you can actually spot some of your work now, which is really cool. I feel like that's just awesome. Is that one of the bigger murals that you've done?
Yeah, that one's pretty big.
I mean, now it was. I mean, it was fucking massive. So I was like, okay, would you say, do you prefer doing art pieces that are more small and like in a controlled space, or do you enjoy doing murals?
Oh, the bigger the better.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I love that.
I
All right.
actually think it might sound crazy, but the larger they are, the easier they are for me to paint.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Because, I mean, I feel like perspective being so close. I've always thought about that, like people who are painting murals on side buildings. How do you... I don't know. It's just impressive in itself, scale. Because if I do a little drawing, it's like this big, and I'm like, that took me 8 hours. Okay, that's like, I don't know, it's taking forever.
Well, so that's the thing. That's what's like so crazy about it is if I work on something in my studio, it could take me weeks. Versus if I'm working on a mural, it could take me like 5 days.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because I'm not perfecting it as much.
Okay, that makes sense. And so you also recently did a collaboration with Spencer Pratt, which I thought was amazing. Like again, he was my entire For You page after the Palisades fires and after the fires that happened in the hills. How did that go about? And where was your inspiration for that?
Oh my God, well, it's crazy. So, I was just scrolling, just like how you've been.
Okay.
And I saw a video of him shirtless with this flower hat, hummingbirds surrounding him, and he's like totally giving blue steel. And it's just so great. It's iconic, actually.
Yeah.
And the 2 top comments were, can someone please paint him? And they had like thousands of likes. And so, for shits and giggles, I put it on my Instagram story and I was like, guys, should I do it? And I got hundreds of replies. Like my stories haven't popped off like that in a while on Instagram, like the algorithm, whatever. And I was like, okay, the people want it. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And so that's how it happened.
And it all happened that way. And you actually just went and gave him a piece, right? You actually met him and y'all did a collab and everything.
Oh my God. So I made one video like sharing the process. Yeah. He followed me on both Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, we're besties already.
I love it.
And then there was an event that they were throwing at La La Land Cafe. Yep. So I went. So that's when I met him and Heidi. And then, we kept in touch. Okay. So he knew when I was finishing the painting. And then I just gave it to him.
That's amazing. And also, I feel like the reason why I loved Spencer Pratt's journey through all of that was his vulnerability. And I feel like it's kind of like serendipitous to me. I think I see it as a serendipitous collaboration because you also are so vulnerable in the work that you share. So having 2 people like who are just so authentically themselves online and sharing their journey of everything, that his hardships of going through the fires, and then also he's got a lot of hardships over time, and then you also expressing that and then coming together. It's just really cool to see that. I
love that you said that.
Yeah, I feel like that is kind of the point of all of this, right? Like we are all so connected in one way or another, and then finding ways to like meet each other and take it and create something really cool with it. I think it's really awesome. What made you decide to go into a full-time artist? Because, I feel like sometimes social media, people don't realize that it's a full-time business. Like everybody is their own, you're a CEO of your own business, right? You're an entrepreneur, and it's the same, right? For a full-time artist, right?
For sure.
And then on top of that, you're also doing social media, which makes you 2 CEOs, in my opinion. So when did you take that step towards being a full-time artist?
I think that was, oh my God, it was 5 years ago. Okay. Because it was right before COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's always right before COVID.
It's right, yeah.
Everybody is like, life change, COVID. Well, okay.
Literally. But that's when it was for me. And I realized that I actually can't work for other people. I don't do well with someone being my boss. Yeah. And it's interesting. I went and got tacos with a friend. And I was working in hospitality. I bartended for years. Okay. And he was like, save up enough money for 6 months. And if you can't make it in those 6 months, then go back, but try it out, like give yourself that chance. And so I did that. I saved up enough money and then I quit my job. Okay. And I was like, let's see where it goes. Yeah. And here we are, 5 years later.
Wow, that's insane. I truly believe in like the power of positivity and the power of law of attraction. And I feel like when you really put yourself out there and you just trust that your passion and your core why, it will open up the doors. Like the doors will all align. And like, I don't know, something about, to me, I feel like everything will happen as long as you give yourself the chance first. But it's like you said, unless you take that step and like really put yourself out there, it might not ever come. Like you
You'll
can't
never
wait
know.
for it. You really can't wait for it. You just have to like throw yourself into it. Kind of like Girls in Wonderland for me. I had to just throw myself into it. Here we are, you know.
Here we are.
I'm dead. So, you know, with you being your own boss and your own entrepreneur, you're always having to find clients and having these meetings and things. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes into being a full-time artist that people might not know. Have you ever had any hardships that you've had to overcome, particularly with being your own boss?
All the time.
All the time.
I feel like it's
like this morning.
it's truly like a daily thing. I mean,
Yeah.
for example, you saying that, a lot of the behind the scenes that just no one would think about, but there are a lot of things that you can apply for online. Like there's city grants or there's mural festivals, or like really big companies will be like, I'm looking for an artist, like etc. So a hurdle that I just went through, I like cried about it for a week, it's fine, is I was one of 3 artists for a really huge commission project for a college.
Okay.
And so I went through 3 design phases, which was a lot for this proposal, and it was just a lot of work to do, and then they didn't pick me.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like putting all that work in, and having all these meetings and you know, like doing a site visit and whatnot, and then it not following through.
Yeah. And I'm sure it feels defeating in that moment, but I'm looking forward to the moment where you get to a point in your future where it all makes sense of why it had to happen. There's always a reason.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I learned something from every no.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Absolutely.
like, how can I be better?
Yeah.
Or essentially too, with that client, I'm kind of happy that it didn't work out because their communication wasn't great.
Right.
You know,
It might have been a trigger at some point, you know, who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
you never know.
And I think for me, it's the same. Like when we started our business, our platform, and it's an incorporated business, people don't actually know that we take it very seriously. We have business meetings, we take calls with people, you're on Zoom, you're, 6 months in advance before some content goes live, you're having these conversations, and people don't know that. And sometimes there's some really hard conversations that come about that makes you it challenges your self-worth. And I think you really have to be stern in those moments. We used to just kind of take everything. We're like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, pair of sunglasses, all this stuff. Now it's kind of, as you mentioned, we are very particular. Like, I want to make sure there's a philanthropic give back component to our community. I want to make sure that the people who are working with us are supporting us actually in public. I don't want to just take anything. And I think that that's also something that people don't think about, that there's a lot of, you have to put your foot down in a lot of ways.
You have
and
to
really protect yourself.
Or you'll get taken advantage of.
Yes, especially as
you'll
women.
Lose.
I feel like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's another layer.
That's a whole nother layer.
Yeah.
A whole nother factor. But yeah, also, and if you don't put your foot down, I feel like it will get in the way of your passion.
Absolutely.
You know, like you're not going to want to do it anymore. It's going to feel draining. It's going to it also shouldn't feel like just a job. Like it should bring you purpose and make you happy.
Yeah. How do you avoid burnout? Because I feel like every creative goes through it. Every single creative.
I just lean into it now.
You're
I
like,
do.
actually, this is
I
helping.
have to.
Yeah.
I have to, because I've let it take the course and like semi-destroy me.
Okay.
You know? So it's like, if I'm burnout, then I need to give myself like that time.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, all right, I am going to stay inside and recharge for a week, 2 weeks, who knows? It's really interesting, like being a creative, because like if I don't fix my mind, like I can't do great work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, absolutely. And I think that I was experiencing something similar to that at the end of last year, where things were moving so fast. And then just, of course, with the political climate, everything happening all at once, it felt like the world was really, a lot of people that I cared about it was scary for a lot of people. And I feel like the combined heartbreak plus work exhaustion and travel exhaustion combined together, it really hit me in a burnout that I haven't had in a very long time. So I had to like repurpose myself, recenter myself to kind of figure out, what do I really want to do? What stories do I really want to tell? How do I want to, how do I want myself and what I'm doing to be remembered? Because I always think about it, if in 60, 70 years we look back and we had these opportunities to help people, in whatever kind of art and storytelling that we're doing, then what was the purpose if we didn't? I feel like we have this privilege and this excitement to help and connect with people. And I don't know. I think about that all the time, that I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do that too.
I also love that you think about that all the time.
All the time.
It says so much about you.
Oh, I appreciate that. And I feel like that's why I connect so much with your art, truly, because I feel like I can see that through what you put on paper, on a mural, on anything. I can see that. The feeling that I have and that I want to give out, you put it on paper, which I just, it's really beautiful. I want to talk about mental health too, because I know we tapped a little bit into that. You've been more vulnerable on social media and used that as a way to really bridge the gap between your art and your audience. What was the push to kind of lead you towards sharing your journey online and being very vulnerable?
So I really think it was the response from the show. Like
Really?
after the
Okay.
show came out, the amount of messages that I got was insane. Like it was such a beautiful thing
Yeah.
of people thanking me and telling me that they felt seen and that like they're not used to people like speaking openly about it. And so that's why I have, honestly. And
Amazing.
I feel like being relatable is so important nowadays. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people I just don't think are that authentic and genuine. And
Yeah.
I think it is really problematic. So I try and do my best to like really show who I am and what I'm going through.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's also helping people all around the world, because I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, sometimes we live in Los Angeles, we live in these bigger cities, and I have to always constantly remember that not everyone lives in a Los Angeles, and not everyone lives in a place that they're surrounded by queer events or queer spaces or places that welcome you to talk about mental health, or there's community building and everything. I have to remember that there are many people out there that don't have that, and social media is one of the only tools they have to connect with people like them. And so I have to always remember, yeah, of course social media has its negative. I know we've all dealt with backlash, girl. I get all kinds of shit all the time about negative things, but for every negative DM, there's 15 to 20 positive ones. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to focus on those because those are the ones that only matter, you know? Were you nervous to share your story at first? Were you just like super empowered from the beginning just through those DMs and those messages?
Yeah, I was empowered.
Okay.
Which
yeah.
honestly, it's something that I've thought a lot about. So like even like talking about mental health right now, like I have not been in the best place the last couple months, and it
Yeah.
really started truly with the elections.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Same.
I just feel like there's just been a shift, and like I'm also an empath, and I just feel
Same.
so much like I feel sadness, I think, from like every corner of every environment right
Yeah.
now, you know? So it's been hard to get myself out of it, but I've been trying to remind myself that like people need to hear this. And so
Yeah.
I need to like put myself back out there because
Yeah.
I haven't for a little bit on
Yeah.
the internet.
And same. I feel like last year was really hard. It was very hard. At the end of last year, I was heartbroken, truly. Like it felt
Truly.
like a heartbreak. And then I'm still kind of going through those waves and how to navigate that, because I lost all my motivation. I lost all creative inspiration.
Yep.
I was like, what am I even sharing? It's hard for me to get online and sell a product right now when I feel like I can visibly see people hurting.
Yeah.
And visibly see people's rights being taken away. And, you know, women were being attacked, and the trans community was being attacked, and everybody I love is being attacked. And I was like, I need to do something that can help in whatever it might be. And I'm like, this is what I want. I want to kind of pivot into that. And I feel like it's slowly helping. I'm still like learning every day, but also just being around people that inspire me. I feel like that's what's going to pull me out of that too. So
We need that.
Yeah. That's why I appreciate you honestly coming in and being a part of this. With mental health, did you receive any backlash from that? Was there any negative response, or was
No,
it?
thankfully.
Wow,
I
that's
will
amazing.
say
That's amazing.
I can't speak for every cast member, but I really think I was the only one that didn't have any backlash
Really?
at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And anytime that I speak out, I don't get any judgment from it.
That's good.
It's all love, really.
I think it's you wearing your heart on your sleeve and just truly allowing yourself. Because, I mean, you being vulnerable, I think the reason why people are scared to be vulnerable is because they're scared of getting that rejection, right? That rejection of, if I tell you my story, are you going to reject who I truly am, right?
Yeah.
And I think that by you just throwing it and being like, I just want to let you know this is truly who I am and everything that I have to offer, people are like gravitated towards that, which is really cool. Do you think that you'll do more art that is all about your mental health journey over time, or is that still in the works, kind of figuring it out?
It's still in the works.
Yeah.
So I've made multiple new paintings and I have not shared them
Okay.
at all. I am so in my head about how they'll be received, but I'm doing like a lot of work for me. I call them my passion pieces.
Good.
And like, I'm just trying to figure out,
I love it.
you know,
Yeah. If you were to give someone a piece of advice of maybe somebody's struggling to open up, or maybe talk to someone about how they're feeling, if maybe they're holding some pressures or some, you know, societal worries, what's some advice that you would give to them?
therapy.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Seriously. Like I feel like we need an outlet, right? We need to talk to people. And also, I mean, I use my art as an outlet, but we need healthy ways to get our emotions out.
Yeah.
Or they'll just take over us.
Yeah. Therapy is like not necessarily always just going to see a therapist or getting, there's going to see one. There's online therapy, which is great. There's talking to friends and finding your support group and being in a happier, more positive environment. Therapy can come in the form of going on hikes and doing physical activity.
Yeah.
And there's so many different forms of therapy, journaling, art, you know, I think, yeah, absolutely. And I'm trying to do better about all those things. I'm trying to eat healthier and trying to go to the gym, and unfortunately it works. It really, you know, like it works. And I'm like, oh, that means I have to keep doing it. It means I have to keep eating salads and working out every day. I'm like, oh God.
But can I just say that that's so interesting? So I just started a new diet. I like cut out dairy and carbs because dairy apparently is not really good for you.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm trying to feel my best. I will do anything at this point to like feel my best. I quit drinking.
Okay.
I used to vape. I quit vaping. I'm like, anything that I can do that will make my body feel better, might make my head feel better, you know?
No, absolutely. I realized like whenever I was drinking very heavily. I was very heavily alcohol dependent for many, many, many years. And I realized it was just like, it was taking a piece of me every time I would have a drink. And I would never get that piece back. And I feel like it was hitting a rock bottom to the point where I was like, I'm either going to lose everything I love and that I care about to continue drinking, or I need to just stop here what I'm doing. And it was the hardest decision I've ever made. But now looking back, it was probably 4 years ago now. It was the best decision I've ever made. And now I don't even think about drinking, which is kind of crazy. You know, if I'm going out and stuff, I'll see people, but there's so many options now to have like non-alcoholic beverages, or a lot of people are starting to actually stop drinking as much, which is interesting and makes you feel a little less alone in that journey. But that's great. So now I know we can go like grab coffee or something. Yeah, I'm super down for it. I'm super down. Well, I kind of want to talk about the love life, because I know we talked about the love life earlier.
I made little hints.
The little hints. We got a reality show coming, The Bachelor queer version. Yeah, we're here for it. But what's the next step? So we're doing maybe Hinge, maybe Bumble Friends. I'm gonna get you on all these apps.
All the apps.
Now I want to see what your profile looks like.
Oh my God, I can totally show you. You have to be honest with me.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
critique it.
I will.
Yeah.
What's something that you're looking for in a partner, and what are some of your like red flags where you're like an absolutely not at this point?
Sure. So I'm looking for safety and security.
Okay.
Because I normally fall for very toxic people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want something to feel healthy.
Yeah.
And usually what I've realized from all the therapy is that like I gravitate towards recklessness and like just certain attributes that are huge red flags.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. And so like when I meet people, like if they're really sweet and they're really nice, it's honestly something I'm not very used to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Like this is safe. I think this would be good for me.
Yeah. That's good. I think it's like, you know, toxicity is fun until it's not.
No, it is fun. Exactly.
Until it's not. And then
I've had a lot of fun with it, but I've also, I think I've had more pain with it.
Yeah.
So
no, literally Christine and I we'll be watching a movie or something, and it's about somebody going on like a 5-day bender, or like a, you know, like just partying, and then they like going through depression. We're like, remember when that used to be us? Like now we're just like, we have 3 foster cats right now. And now we're sitting in having 3 foster cats watching TV on a Saturday night. And I'm like, we're watching our cats watch TV. You know what I mean? I'm like,
no, like I want that life.
This is what I mean. You know, it's funny how that kind of shifts. But I agree. I feel like safety and security is huge, especially with everything happening right now. I feel like knowing that you can trust someone, again, opening up to someone who will be safe with your heart, I feel like is really, really important.
Yeah. Well, and so for me, like, I just have so many walls built up.
Okay, yeah.
Because of just, you know,
Being
some
hurt.
trauma from other relationships.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's out there.
She is. She's out there. She's out there. And now I'm determined. I'm an Aries, so I'm like, now I'm determined. Now I feel like I need to
Listen, if you want to play matchmaker.
I can do that. I want to be a wing woman. I can do it. Okay, I'm here for this. What would be like a red flag where you're like an absolutely, I know toxicity is like not it, but if there's like a red flag, for me, it's like you can't not like animals. I feel like as soon as I find that out, it's like an absolutely not going to happen. What's a red flag where you're like, never again?
I feel like this is so common, but I've actually really, really, really have seen it in LA. Like, you need to be nice to service industry. Like, you need to be nice to other people working actually in any field.
Right.
Yeah.
Kindness.
Kindness.
It's sad that you have to like say that a green flag is kindness, or just like being an asshole is like a red flag.
Yeah.
Because why is that so hard? Why? I've just never understood. I've never woken up in the morning and be like, I want to be mean to someone today.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't get it. I
Yeah.
just like, I don't understand. What is, do you have any funny dating stories? Like just a random funny, you don't have to say names or anything, but just like a random unique dating story.
I feel like they're all funny.
There's
Like, I feel like I'm the friend that is entertaining.
okay. Yeah.
know,
So
like,
you've just always got stories.
I've
on
always
stories.
got stories. Like, I'm looking for a normal date.
Yeah.
You know?
What would be like a normal date? Just like going out for dinner and coffee, not like axe throwing or something? Or like, were you down for that? So like a rampage room?
I don't know if that would be that great because I just feel so many things currently. Like, I think I would look like the toxic one. Like, I'd scare them if they took me on that kind of date.
Okay, yes.
But
it could be therapeutic though. There's another form of therapy.
it would
Axe
be
throwing. Yeah.
axe
Okay.
throwing, you
Yeah.
know, which I'm just going to squirrel real quick, the ADHD.
Go same.
That I have thought about, like, doing events with axe throwing to heal people, like putting a picture of an ex, you know,
Period.
on it.
Yes.
How healing.
Politicians.
Politicians.
Wait, this is a great idea.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God, this could be, you're onto something here. That is therapeutic. I feel like, okay.
We
I'm
could
here
really
for it.
help out people with that.
Yeah, you could, actually. I think you're onto something for sure. I feel like also with Los Angeles, it's not only hard to find friends, but it's hard to find like somebody who's also open to dating as well. It's also with the queer community. I feel like the queer community, everyone's dated each other. Or they know someone who's dated each other. Or they know the drama about who you've dated in the past.
But I don't want someone that's been around the block. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and someone could say that about me, sure,
right,
but
right.
so I just, like, you know, there's people that are really in the scene,
Yeah.
you know, and then there's people
Right.
that, like, stay out of it.
Fair. Yeah. No, I mean, I get that. Like, I feel like with the queer community, it's very known that it's a small town, as you said. So, you know, whenever you meet someone, you're more than likely connected regardless. But I mean, when I met Christine, I had just moved to New York, so we had no connection really. But that was good. But when we moved to Denver, that was the first time I had been surrounded by lesbians ever. Like, everyone in Denver's gay. I don't care what you say. Everyone wears plaid, wears the Carhartt beanies, and everyone's queer. They go drinking the night before, and then they go rock climbing the next day. And I was like, wow, this is super gay. But everyone has like dated each other, and we were like, wow, this is another layer to being queer. And I just never
No, it is. Well,
knew.
so first off, I have to say that I was shocked by the Denver community when I went there for Pride.
Right.
I really, like, everyone is hot there too.
Yeah.
Everyone is really good looking.
Yes.
Love the Denver lesbian scene. But like in Florida, that's how I felt like it was. Everyone dated each other.
Yeah.
And then coming to LA, like, I was the one, right, that like was fresh meat essentially.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
you know, no one has gotten with me, but I've seen it being friends with people.
Yeah.
I've seen all the connections and the webs and
True. The webs. Yeah.
the webs.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like,
There's-
I don't want to get sucked into that.
It makes sense. I mean, when you date into the web too, it's like you're inevitably going to run into drama. Like there's nothing else about it. Like you have your normal relationship drama, and then there's like, oh, I know your ex's who all, you know, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I feel like with the dating scene, it's so hard. But I will be your wingwoman. I will dub myself for that.
Thank you.
Looking forward, I want to know if there's like a creative project or a celebrity you would love to create with, or is there something that you really just want to put it out there in the open and see if the universe will bring it to you. Your ideal project. We're going to manifest it right now. It's happening. It's happening.
I mean, my ideal project, honestly, I would just want to do, I really want to do work overseas. Like,
okay.
I really want to work with other communities. Like, I want to do murals that like have positive messages. Like doing the mural for TikTok for Pride, like was so important for me. So actually, I guess something that I would love to do, there is this women's center here in LA, or even like the Happy Hippie Foundation from Miley Cyrus that like help the homeless community. Like, I would love to work with them. Like, I would love to like make murals that bring awareness to like really important topics. So yeah, anything like in that space or that realm would be incredible.
How would you like your art and your storytelling to impact others? And what do you want to be remembered by when people see your art and take that with them?
I don't know if I've ever thought about that.
I know it's hard, right?
It is hard.
Yeah.
Because I really do, like, I want my work to be impactful. And like, I really want women to feel inspired. But then I also want communities to feel seen and represented. So like, something that has been like mandatory in my work is like including people of all different ethnicities and different cultures. I just want everyone to feel seen. Yeah.
Right. I feel like all of us coming together and creating something beautiful together is only going to make us stronger and kind of like linking. I visualize it as like linking arms. And then, you know, when we all come together and we create beautiful things and beautiful projects together and, you know, somebody that's impacted by the work that you're doing, that carries with them. You know what I mean? And that's truly what's going to change the world. I really believe that, especially like people pouring their hearts out there and people realizing it's okay to be vulnerable. I feel like that is what we need right now. Random funsy question.
Okay.
Completely random. What is an irrational fear that you have? And to preface, mine is megalophobia, which means I have a fear of really large objects. Like, I can't explain it.
Oh my God,
it's
that's so interesting.
It's so irrational. I don't know where it comes from, but really large objects. Like, do you know the statues that are in the water? Like, there's water statues, like underwater, they'll have statues and it's like a giant figure or like a hand or something. I can't. It literally triggers me so bad. I don't know why. Do you have a random fear? Like, that you can't explain?
Well, see, I can explain mine though.
Oh, you can? Okay.
I am terrified of spiders.
Okay,
like,
okay, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But I know where it comes from. Is so I went to a birthday party that was a sleepover. We watched 8-Legged Freaks, and it has just...
Oh, I was going to say you found one in your sleeping bag or something. Oh, no. I was going to freak out.
Oh, my God. Well, they put a fake spider. You know, those, like, plastic fake spiders? I think they were even, like, rings or something. I don't even know. They put them all over me.
No.
Okay? Yeah, no. And I've just been terrified.
Oh, my God. No. So I lived in Australia before moving to New York.
Oh, God. No. I've seen the videos. No.
So I moved to Australia, and I had never known the spiders. They're like, I'm not even joking. They're
massive.
They're called huntsman spiders, first of all. Who names them that? Like, you're going to name it the most terrifying thing in the world, the huntsman spider, and it's literally the size of a dinner plate. And people would find them in their rooms. It was crazy.
No way.
When I would go to bed at night, it was like a standard practice. You have to check your pillowcases and check for spiders.
No, it'd be an absolute disaster.
It gave me arachnophobia. Like, it's definitely rational. I 100% believe you on the rational fear. But yeah, mine's like really random objects. Like, certain things. If a tree is too big, I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. It freaks me out. But it has to be a really big tree. You know, like the Yosemite? Those are big ass trees. Why is it so big? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you could do a mural anywhere in the world, no limits, where would it be? It's like a travel question.
No limits.
Anywhere in the world.
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
It would be Amsterdam.
Okay.
The art scene there is absolutely incredible. They have some of the best renowned museums.
Okay.
Like, in the world.
That's true.
I'd absolutely want to be a part of their street art scene.
Okay, I love that. And I think it's going to happen. I feel like now we put it out there.
Yeah,
that is part of the project. Yes, absolutely. Where can people find you on social media and follow your journey that's coming up ahead?
So my Instagram and my TikTok is at @TheRealMelPos with a Z. And then my website is melanieposner.com.
Thank you so much for coming on today. This has been so much fun to hang out.
I loved this.
I know. I was like, wait, I feel like this is like a little slumber party. It's the first of many. We'll have movie nights. We'll have board game nights and do all the things. I promise this time. I pinky promise.
No, I take these really seriously.
I'm so serious.
Okay.
I do too. You can't break a pinky promise. Pinky promise.
Well, no, because then unfortunately we'd have to end our friendship.
I know,
and we can't do
and
that.
we can't do that. We can't do that. We're a couple years in the making now.
Yes.
We have to keep it going. Okay, we're good.
You're like, cut.
Oh my God, I don't know how to end these. Thank you, Max. And that's a wrap on this episode of She Comes With Baggage. If you love this conversation, please make sure to follow She Comes With Baggage on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content and behind the scenes moments. And if you're turning into Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of the audio platforms, please don't forget to leave me a review. I love hearing from you. Your support is what keeps these conversations going. And just remember, we all have more in common than we might realize. Until next time.